following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
It's time for another game week here on Mick Shots inside the SWBC podcast studio. It's Cowboys Wednesday. Bill Jones, Everson Walls, Mickey Spagnola, and the star of our show,
Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah Humoller. Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Great.
So
great.
the opening shot, is it like behind both of our heads?
We need to flip
sorta,
it.
yeah.
We need to flip it. You two
There
need to be
we
on
go.
this side. There you go.
Do we need to get the good-looking people?
Right.
on
See
this
what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
So we didn't scare you off yesterday?
No, not at all.
Came back for round two. huh?
Exactly.
That's right.
Well, good. Good to have you back.
Savvy Sports on X, which used to be Twitter.
Sports savvy.
No, it's,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sports savvy.
Sports savvy. I'm sorry.
But more important,
yeah.
You got the X
She's
right.
savvy
You can
at
go with
sports. though.
but more important to get on the text line 817-290-3298, and you'll get Savannah's attention.
There you go. And you'll get on the show that way.
That's right.
I was golfing with some people today, and they said they were going to listen in on the show. And so they're going to call in or text in. That's the lie he told me. So
Pressure's
I hope
on.
that-
Well, when I showed up in park today, the parking attendant said he was in the midst of listening to Mick Shots.
Oh.
And he said he was laughing. It was there was some really good stuff we were talking about.
I don't know if everyone laughs along with us.
Right? Well, one guy did anyway.
Yeah, we do laugh at silly stuff.
And so you brought up that you played golf.
I did. I was at the Cowboy course.
Okay. Once again this week.
Once again,
Did they have a cart named after you?
No, I was in Tony Hill's cart, though.
Oh,
I took
okay.
a picture of it and sent it to him. And he sent me a picture of his granddaughter. He said, I'm babysitting today.
So we all winners on the
Heck
court?
no. Oh, my God. They put me on the team, man. You know,
It's
Ed's
their
out-
fault. It's not
Ed
your
is
fault.
out there. Oh, it's all their fault. Ed is out there, and he can't hardly hit the ball. But yet, you can see on the scoreboard, he's winning.
This is too tall. Yeah.
This is too tall. He's
Okay.
winning. He's winning that team because he's on a stacked team.
Uh-huh.
They got me a little dude named John, little dude named Paul. You know, biblical. I guess it's biblical. And so we're out there. You know, they're no better or worse than I am. So I can't elevate
You got
them.
no shot.
I can't elevate them. It's like playing that.
If I was on your
you
team.
remember the
You needed
the
a guy-
Cliff Harris golf tournament where
Right.
everybody almost died out there. It was like 115 degrees.
Well, what you
in the
want to do
springtime.
is you want to get on Mike Donnelly's team.
No.
Who was that?
Mike Donnelly?
Mike Donnelly.
Doug Donnelly.
Doug Lyon.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with
You're
first
worse
names
than
lately,
me, dude.
right?
You are worse than me.
Mike
He looked
Red-
at me like I was going to help him
Mike-
out.
Come on, Mike Donnelly.
I don't know.
Come on, you know Mike.
It was a cross between Renfro and Donnelly,
There
right?
you go. There
Thank
you go. Two slower wide
Two-
receivers.
He
Two
can,
slower wide receivers or white receivers?
I said wide, but yeah, I meant to
He
say
can hit the ball.
white wide. That's right.
he can hit the ball.
He can hit the ball.
Yes.
That's right.
How slow was Mike Renfro, though?
Well, after the injury.
His son was really fast.
No, he was fast before
Okay.
the injury.
Okay.
And then he did like two
And
knee
then-
surgeries. Then he comes out there and he's
we
one of the
know
best.
Doug Donnelly wasn't slow.
No. What they call him?
White Lightning.
White Lightning. That's right.
That's right. We had some white lightning last night in the area,
You sure
and on
did.
my drive in, I don't know if there was white lightning, but there was rain, and then I get here and I see football players on the football field. They're
There
going to
is.
survive the elements out
There was a
here.
little rain out there just
Yeah,
now.
my internet didn't survive. The lightning knocked it off.
Oh no!
Oh no.
And you know what that means? You got to spend an hour with somebody on the internet trying to give you pointers on how to get it back working.
You called officials, right?
The officials?
You called an official. You didn't just get somebody on the line that's kind of helping.
No, you can't call anybody. You got
So-
to chat.
Oh, and you chatted
Yeah.
with an
Right.
official
Yeah.
person. Okay. I thought you like.
Took an hour to figure out
thought
what
you
the
just
problem
emailed one of your
was.
boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
took an hour. Yeah.
Okay, so
Nice
are you
morning.
prepared with anything for us then?
I'm always.
Oh, I thought that was a built-in excuse.
No, not at all.
Right, cool.
All right.
That was at home.
Well, bring us up to speed on
Well,
what
what
we
do you
need
want to know? Let's tell you. Let's
it's
see.
the start of a new week.
Mike McCarthy, the practice today, said that Tyler Smith would practice. Zach Martin would rehab. I think it's more of a veteran day than anything else. Chuma Adoga, we'll see what he can do. And he figures that Donovan Wilson and let's see who else. Jordan Lewis, both would work today, and Tony Pollard, because of the heavy workload, would get limited snaps. He's not limited because of injury. Just
limited from
figuring
touching the ball
he
30
touched
plus
the ball
times, right?
32 times.
Right.
That maybe they'll just back off on him.
So you talk about Tyler Smith. Is this a ramp-up thing? Or?
No, I would imagine if he can practice, he's good
Ready
to
to
go.
go. Okay.
Yeah, I mean he's been working on the side, so he shouldn't have lost all his conditioning, and that would bode well since it's we'll see on Adoga
And Donovan?
And Donovan, I would imagine if he gets in a full two practices this week, that he might be ready to go. But again, as we talked about with Lewis, you got to sit somebody if he's active. So
Jordan Lewis got in 10 snaps
Right.
in the game on Sunday.
right. I'm trying to remember who the extra person was that they put. Oh, they put Iganagami.
Yeah.
Anagani.
You wanted to say
is
that
out.
name.
That's right.
Noah.
They put him
Yeah,
down.
Noah.
So if Wilson's ready to go, one of those safeties probably have to sit.
Well, I know
Kwamu,
who's
maybe?
not sitting.
Who's that?
I saw Hooker make a hell of a play on that interception.
Yeah.
Nate and I were talking
That was
about
the
yesterday.
Vince Albritton needed to do
Yes,
for you.
thank you.
Right?
But first of all, Vince was in position because he's on that side of the field, so all he had to do was get that side.
one hash over,
One hash
right?
over.
Yeah.
But Hooker came
See, Savannah,
from,
what happens here is we bring up plays that happened today, and then we harken back to 35 years ago.
and then we revise
all the
history.
stories, all the
We
stories.
revive history as well as we
Go
go along.
ahead,
She
Everson.
needs a history
I need to know.
lesson.
I need to know the details.
Right. We make up
But
stuff
he was
too,
on
we
the
have to.
opposite hash
That's
and
my
got
point.
over, right?
And that was impressive.
See, and here's the other
That
thing.
was very impressive. Stan.
Everybody was saying we got to worry about Hooker because did you see, how Garrett Wilson ran away from him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he beat him off the ball. He stayed with them the whole way. The problem was he started off 5 yards behind him,
Right.
and he finished 5 yards behind
Right.
him. So it wasn't like he got smoked.
So they were both running a 4.39.
That's right, absolutely. But it wasn't that he was too slow. He couldn't catch up, is what the deal was.
Well,
And that guy's pretty fast.
Oh
by
yeah,
the way.
no, he's a stud. But I'm back to Hooker. I just think that the play that he made was very exceptional. I know that he put a little loft on the ball, talking about Zach Wilson, but to make that play, and not only did he make it over there in time, if I'm going over there, I'm going to be trying to catch it up top. He had enough time to catch it in his stomach. That's hard to do. That means that he was there within plenty of time. And both Nate and I talked about how much ground he covered. That's extremely unusual these days to see a safety cover that much ground and make a play on the ball.
I can't remember if McCarthy made a point of that, saying that was a really good play,
was a good play.
by a safety. To be able
And
to
thank
get
God,
over and
because
do it.
Diggs was doing it. Everson Walls over there biting on the double move, and he was beat badly.
Because he was asked about Gilmore. Because people, they got these crazy polls out there, and one of them was they want their guys covering all the teams to what's the weakness that you're worried about that team. Well, you can't say none, right? You got to have something come up. And I think somebody said the Cowboys' safety position, and it was like,
What?
Seriously? The safety position? You got to do better than that, right? And then, of course,
That just lets you know they got nothing else.
It would have been there.
That's a compliment.
it would have been the tight ends. And the tight end position is not all about catching the ball. It's about blocking. And this tight end group is blocking in 2 games much better than they did last year.
Yeah.
And those guys 2 of them were rookies last year, and Dalton Schultz was a liability in the blocking part of the game. So, okay, is that your weakness? And then it's, well, how about the backups on the offensive line? Well, you know what? They had to play. And, it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't bad. And I guarantee you, most teams don't have more than 6 good offensive linemen on their team. And Monday night, with 4 teams, that was a good example. Some don't even have 5 good ones on their team. So then it had to be, well, they don't have a power running back. Well, we started that a long time ago, but there's other ways to skin that cat. And what they did, they didn't choose to use their speed inside the 5 like they did in the first game. So I still think he was sandbagging. Things were in control. Why show Arizona what we got?
I think, too, that until it got very late in that game, it became a 3-score game. The only way the Jets were getting back in that game was a pick 6 or a scoop and score. It was still a 2-score game. And so you're not going to call plays that have any risk to them at all at that point, because they could not move the ball against the Cowboys defense.
And now not everybody can't say, well, I don't know about the kicking game. Guys made 7 out of 7.
Okay. I gotta say before you
hopefully
move on,
I'm
Bill,
not jinxing.
Yes, that's my point. Last year I was really feeling Maher. I was feeling him, and then all of a sudden he goes off the rails.
Well, it wasn't all of a sudden. It was the 19th game of the season.
That's my point.
It was all of a sudden. All of a
games,
sudden,
the 18th.
Okay, what is it?
all of a sudden, the most important part of the season.
He goes to
We can't make
tanking,
an extra
man.
point.
You come on. You better check his bank account.
Well, Savannah, I'm
crazy.
sure you saw that. What did you think when you saw him missing those extra points?
Oh gosh, I said, what are we doing? What are we doing? But I'm actually very happy with Brandon Aubrey so far. So far, so good. So far, so good.
And
See, that's the way you so far so good.
Right?
You want to temper your
So
expectations.
just be
savvy there.
You know what? And to a point on the entire Cowboys team at 2-0, so far so good, right? Man, these people got the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
already.
let's hold our horses on that.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens in San Fran. You show me what happens in San Francisco.
Well, you just
We're going to see it in a couple of weeks.
Get me through Arizona.
There you
okay?
go. There you go.
We are taking your texts.
I may have one.
You may have one.
I may have one.
Let's do one before we
Oops, I'm
take
sorry.
a
That was
Trying
me.
to decide
Sorry.
how good it is.
That was me.
Yeah, I'm assessing which one we should do.
Okay.
But
All right.
I think this one's actually a prediction. It's from Mike from Maryland. He predicts Micah Parsons will break Michael Strayhorn's sack record this year. Yes or no?
Straight hand.
Strahan.
Strahan.
What is the record?
28 sacks.
No. 23?
I may look it up.
28.
I may look it up.
28 sounds too
Someone
much.
said something about
28 is right.
No, what 28 was. Someone threw out 28.
Mike from Maryland did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that it? That's not the record.
Eminem got it wrong.
All right. Y'all keep vamping, and I'll.
And if I remember, the last one was BS, right? Favre just fell down for him.
That's right.
You know, Favre is a strange bird. He's always about taking the short road.
22 and a half.
Okay, so 23 was close.
And he has what, 2?
He's got 3.
3.
Osa's tied with him.
Osa's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, Rosa said, don't
Why y'all
forget
talking about him?
I love it. I love it.
All right, I've got a question that we will pose when we come back. It has to do with one Tony Pollard when we continue on Mick Shots in just a moment.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, the official roofer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, man, that
Pretty
was
clean,
perfect.
huh?
So
Perfect.
much better.
That's
you,
exactly
So
right.
much better.
Thank
All right,
you.
podcast text line open, 817-290-3298. If Mickey gives us permission, we'll take a phone call from one of Everson's golf partners at 888-855-2297. I got asked a question today that I laughed at. I'll go ahead and offer it up here. Are the Cowboys giving Tony Pollard the ball too much?
Oh, wow. Here we go.
That's what I said. Okay, for 4 years, we complained that we're not getting him the ball enough, and now we're giving him the ball too much. 32 touches in the game the other day.
So his carries in 2 games are 39. So that's 15 a game, right? So, I mean, not 15. 20. Sorry, 20 a game. I was thinking 30.
39.
20. So 20
and a half a game.
20 a game.
That's a good one.
That's because I didn't have to take it. I tested out.
Oh, excuse us. Sorry.
I just think I'd shut you guys down.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir. Hey, you talking about that? They told me that I should stay in advanced composition, even though I was in the wrong class.
Like
said,
writing?
Yes, they said, "Hey, you're not supposed to be in this class, but damn, you're doing well." Okay, well.
So you said I need the
Right,
grades.
yeah, I need the grades. That's right.
Back then they sat people when they didn't get grades,
That's
right?
right.
That doesn't apply anymore.
No pass, no playing.
Not in college anymore. As long as you got an NIL.
There you go, baby.
Right? Because who's ever paying that guy's going to call the school and go, oh, wait a minute, I've invested in this guy, right? Okay, so 20 carries a game. That's about right. Now, yesterday,
20
Sunday,
carries or touches?
well, carries.
Carries.
And then he's got 9 catches.
Okay.
So that's another, 5 a game. So 25 touches a game. It was 32, I believe.
What was Zeke doing? What was his load on average? I mean, off.
I would imagine
Top of
he
your
was in the 20s. I think Zeke was the last Cowboys running back to have 25 carries, and it was just a couple of years ago, I think. So yeah. I mean, he's the guy. He's the number one guy. He's making
And
$10 million a year.
once again, being a team sport, because of what the defense is doing, they are giving Pollard a chance to run the ball more and get more touches.
And because they've got the lead, it's like, okay, that's usually fourth quarter, you're grinding away, right? Yes.
Zeke led the league in attempts his rookie year, 2016, with 322 rushing attempts, and he had 32 catches that year, so that's 354 touches. In 2018, he led the league with 304 attempts, also led the league in rushing both of those years. And he had 77 receptions, so he had 381 touches in a 16-game
Over
season.
16 games.
Yeah. So, and 301 attempts in 2019, another Pro Bowl season for him. Last year, Zeke was at 231 attempts.
So, running backs, the way they're treating them now, it's a lease car. Use them up, turn them in, go get another one.
That's it.
And that's
so last year, Zeke had 231 carries, and Pollard had 193. And Pollard had 39 catches, and Zeke had 17 catches. So 232 touches for Pollard, and Zeke had 248. It was almost an even split last year.
Yeah, and that's less than 20 a game touches
over a 17 game. Well, and they missed some games in there too, but over a 17 game
20
season.
times 17 would be 340, right?
So
anytime they start doing this,
Missouri math.
I just tune out. Don't worry about it.
But Christian McCaffrey with San Francisco is used a lot.
Yes,
both running the ball and receiving. I had a comparison last year. If you extrapolated Tony Pollard's production over the same number of carries that Christian McCaffrey had or touches that McCaffrey had, they were very similar players. Now, the issue with McCaffrey in Carolina, he got hurt. Mm-hmm. Now he's healthy again in San Francisco, and they are riding him like crazy. At the end of last year and at the start of this year.
What's his contract situation? Because that's usually where things get dicey for running backs. Mm-hmm. Has he recently signed? Because if he's coming up for a contract, I'd love to see how they treat him versus the way the guy in Indianapolis is being treated.
That was one of the reasons why Carolina traded him. Because
they didn't want
to pay the big bucks.
Running backs get dogged out.
And I can't remember what San Francisco ended up doing. I see where Cleveland signed Hunt today.
Kareem Hunt, yes. And so obviously Nick Chubb out for the season. And, even with a guy like Barkley, it's a sprained ankle. It's not a high ankle sprain.
Right.
He's likely missing the Thursday night game. We'll see if he's able to come back. But
they said probably three.
Just
days.
Running backs, they get hurt. They're getting hit a lot. There's a lot of wear and tear on a running back.
Well, every time you carry the ball, chances are, unless you're scoring a touchdown, and even not then, you're going to get hit.
So
unless you're running out of bounds.
So as far as what is the ideal? See, I think the other day, without Pollard having a training camp, I mean, I wasn't concerned about 32 touches the other day. Yeah, there's a point in the game that you could have given the ball more to Dowdle in the second half. But again, Dowdle doesn't have a whole lot of experience playing in regular season games. And like I mentioned before, you're at a point in that game, it's a 2-score game, one fumble. Yeah. And so you want to give it to the most reliable guy who's fresh. And you're also establishing Tony for the long haul that he can be able to take the punishment over the entire season. And so I think I didn't have any problem at all with it the other day.
Do you know how many snaps they had in that game, by the way?
80-something.
87.
Yeah.
That's like 70 would be like really good. 60-some would be average. They had 87 snaps. And as I think McCarthy pointed out, they had 5 possessions of at least 12 plays, something like that.
So what number would you be comfortable with for the duration of the season?
I would be
Pollard's
20 to 20.
I'd stop at 20.
Yeah, 20 touches. Because I don't want the touches to get in the way of his speed.
Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at 20 touches, it's 15 carries and 5 catches.
Yeah, say it's that.
So you're good with Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn with the rest of the rushing load.
Because I think we saw that there will be packages for Deuce Vaughn to take advantage of his speed.
They had a package for him in this game. He wound up with 3 carries for 16 yards and 3 catches for 16 yards.
And as McCarthy pointed out, I think it was after we walked off, like he calls plays for players to take advantage of what they can do. So I think there were 10 snaps where they went 4 wide receivers. And it was like, well, why are you doing that? Well, we got guys that got speed. I got to figure out a way to get Turpin on the field. I want my top 3 wide receivers on the field.
Nice play by Turpin, by the way.
Right?
Yeah, good carry.
And what if? And you know, we saw it in training camp. They had formations where Deuce was on the field with Turpin and 2 of the wide receivers.
On Christian McCaffrey, he signed a 4-year, $64 million deal a couple of years ago. He's got 2 years left on it through 3 years if you can count this year, 23, 24, 25.
2027.
And, those are void years. The last 2 years are void years, 26 and 27. So it's really through 25.
And he signed it in Carolina.
Yeah, prior to the trade. Yeah.
And so they signed him, and then they didn't want to pay him.
So
basically, because he got hurt.
Okay.
And it was like, okay.
And Carolina was the change in regime, change in head coach, and so there you go.
Well, let's put it this way. Pollard wants all they can give him. He's in a contract year, right? And he chose to be in a contract year because he could have signed a long-term deal. So I'm thinking he's thinking, give me all you got because I got to show people what I can do.
And McCaffrey's cap number is $14 million
this year.
Well, no, this year it's $3.4 million. The next couple of years it's $14 million, and they'll rework it, and that's why there's the void years in his contract going forward. So, anyway, text line.
I have a quick little one. It's for our matchup against Arizona this weekend. Jeff from Maryland wants to know, will Sunday's game in Arizona be a home crowd for the Cowboys?
Yes. I agree. I think it will be, yes. Well, you know,
that's kind of changed.
As long as you're winning,
right?
Then the Cowboy fans, you can hear them.
They pack it out.
But once they start coming back, like we talked about the me and Jimmy Johnson interaction, they were yelling pretty well for their hometown team.
Yeah, but at that time, Arizona wasn't very good.
Well, here's the other thing.
Not that they're good right now.
The fans were good that day.
Here's the other thing that I heard from a fan who lives in the Phoenix area, a longtime resident there. He said that, going back in the day when they had the blackout rule and everything, you got Cowboy games all the time. And that was a big reason why Arizona fans were Cowboys fans, is because that was the team they were watching.
Not just Arizona, all over the country.
Yeah, but in Arizona, southwest part of the country, as opposed to, say, Buffalo or someplace, you're not going to get the Cowboys every day.
Well, St. Louis got it as well.
Yeah, St. Louis did, and it's roughly the same part of the country.
But what happened is when there were no teams close, when Tex put the radio network together, he put a station on the Cowboys radio network in Tucson and Phoenix. So it was almost like the Cubs on WGN. That's what they got. They could listen to the Cowboys games, and then when they showed up there, they had already invested 20 years of Cowboy loyalty because of that radio network. And so that, and El Paso being closer to Phoenix than it is to Dallas.
That's a damn
and all those Cowboy fans in El Paso would drive to Phoenix for the games. And so when the Cowboys got there, that was the only game that would get not blacked out, because they would sell out Sun Devil Stadium that was, I want to say, 80,000 at that time. Now it's 62.
And the other thing this year is Arizona coming off a 4-13 season, and there's not a lot of hope for this Arizona team this year. So,
and their starting quarterback, not playing.
Yeah. All right, Michael in California, you are up here on Mick Shots. Hello, Michael.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? And I just want to say thank you very much for having me on. It's a pleasure, man. I'm a big fan of you guys, and I listen to your show daily. I just want to highlight the fact that, I think it's really great to see our offense, how it's clicking, especially for the fact that we didn't even have most of our starters in the preseason. I'm not going to lie, I'm not a Dak Prescott hater, man. I'm a big fan of his, but I did kind of doubt him with the past history. But I just think that this year there's a really different buzz about him. I like the way Mike McCarthy is running our offense. And also this defense, I think that we're witnessing something that's going to be historical at the end of the year. And it just feels like a really special year. I think they're going to put it all together. And Micah Parsons, man, his play speaks for itself. But I think that he's going to solidify himself as the best player in watching the game currently. I was a little salty week one when the pregame show, Jason Garrett came out and said that Saquon Barkley was the best player on the field. But I've said enough. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me on. Everson Walls, I'm a big fan of yours.
Yeah.
And, man, it's a pleasure to see. I'm kind of starstruck right now talking to you guys. But God bless you all. Have a good day. Cowboys Nation, let's go.
God bless you as well, my man.
All right,
Yes,
Michael
sir.
Irvin in
Thank you.
California. We appreciate it. And the Cowboy Pep Rally continues in a moment here on Mick Shots.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
To Mick Shots.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe the Dallas Cowboys? Tell us how you spice up the game for a chance to be named the 2023 Cowboys Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan, and win exclusive prizes plus a trip to Super Bowl 58. Nominate yourself or another today at dallascowboys.com/fan of the year.
All right. Back here on Mick Shots and Savannah with some breaking news out there.
Do we have a breaking news sounder?
We need one.
We do need one.
Dun, 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 dun.
Micah Parsons has been named NFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Shocking. I am
Love it.
shocked.
You mean they saw his stats from that game?
Hopefully they watched the game. They could have named him the Defensive Player of the Week right then and there at 6:30 on Sunday evening.
So somebody had pointed this out to me. So he got Defensive Player of the Week. The Special Teams Player of the Week was not Brandon Aubrey, who went 5 for 5 on field goals and ended up scoring 16 points in the game. It was some punter who got 3 touchbacks on 4 punts.
That's correct.
And so somebody asked me about it. I said, well, the reason is they weren't going to give 2 awards to the Cowboys in the same week.
Is there a rule against that?
Yes, the NFL spreads that thing out. They're the ones that name those things, so they manipulate it to spread it around.
Is that necessary? I mean, we're grown men. Should they care? Oh, my God. There's 2 Cowboys in.
So, by the way.
And that was Jake Camarda of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week.
That's a bunch of crap. I'm sorry.
I've been meaning to tell you guys this. It was, as it turned out, it was kind of funny. So on when the guy mentioned Jason Garrett, on what he said about Saquon Barkley, well, when I think they had 5 guys picking the game on their pregame show, and everybody picked the Giants except Jason Garrett. So I'm in the hallway doing my post-game update for television, and I was in the midst of pointing out how what the Cowboys did was a surprise to a lot of people, but not a surprise to us. We saw it coming in training camp. And I was in the midst of saying, and I don't know what the timing of this was, saying that Jason Garrett was the only one to pick the Cowboys to win the game among that crew. And I felt somebody walking by, and they hit me on the shoulder.
I bet it was Jason then.
No.
Oh.
As it turns out, because I didn't turn to look, I figured it was one of the Cowboys players messing with me. I get a text from one of the guys of the stations in Nexstar that I do stuff with, and he goes, was Rodney Harrison just messing with you, or does he even know who you are? Oh. And I said, he must have walked by when I said that.
Fortunately, he didn't hit you like he normally
Yeah, right. He probably wanted to hit me, right?
By the way, Jake Camarda, he had 4 punts in Tampa Bay's win over Chicago, 52.8 average with a long of 72, and 3 of his punts were downed inside the 20-yard line. So that's how he got Special Teams Player of the Week over Brandon Aubrey, who had 5 field goals
between
and 5
21
attempts.
and 55.
That's bad.
And
that's bad.
every kickoff out of the
And you know,
the number of points,
I know,
that's important.
And you know that 72-yard punt probably rolled 20 yards, right? He didn't kick it 72 yards in a fair catch.
I don't know. We got to see.
Yeah.
Don't say that unless you have proof.
All right.
By the way,
I'm supposing.
a shout out to the WNBA Dallas Wings,
yes,
who won their playoff series last night.
All right.
For the first time in franchise history in Dallas, which is 7 years, they advanced to the second round of the playoffs.
That is impressive.
That's awesome.
Our neighbors.
Love that.
What was really impressive is they fell behind at some point early in the second quarter by almost 20 points.
That was in the first game.
No, they fell behind last night too, didn't they?
I turned it on. They were up by 20.
Oh no, by then the first quarter they weren't playing very well. Yeah, but yeah. I watched most of that game.
I thought it was cool at the end. Latricia Trammell is the head coach.
She started tearing up.
Yes, so it was cool at the end of the game. They were showing her on the sideline, and she was wiping away tears. And the game wasn't over yet.
Yeah.
And to know her story, 20 years ago, she was the head coach at Denton Ryan High School.
Wow, man.
And this is her first. She's been a college head coach before. This is her first year as a WNBA head coach. And so she was with Derek Fisher in Los Angeles as an assistant coach prior to this job. And so I thought it was really cool. But anyway, they're moving on to the next round of the playoffs. And by the way, the Rangers got a win last night and are now just a half game back of the Astros in the West, tied with the Mariners.
So here's how, I guess, limited I am. I'm watching the Wings play and listening to the Rangers game on the radio.
Because the Wings were on ESPN.
That was my entertainment.
Because you don't have Bally Sports.
That's right.
And I'm the same way. I'm at work so often in the evening that I have not convinced the wife to let me get off of the cable system we're on. So anyway.
I'm so happy the Rangers won. God, I'm so happy.
The Rangers are good.
Yeah.
We love it.
And by the way, you can catch Savannah at Dallas Stars games, right?
You can. I do help with all the Dallas Stars games. Yep. All the fun things with the Stars. They're great.
Stars Media Day today.
Yes,
as a matter
this
of fact.
morning. Was there very early, bright and early, 6 a.m.
Oh, wow. That is very early.
Doing what?
I was helping with all the little things with the
starting
Stars
training
production.
camp.
And, they play in Cedar Park on Sunday.
Down in the Austin area.
Preseason next week.
Yep, that's right. All right, how are we doing on the text line now?
I have to be honest here. The text line is not too live right now.
We're answering so many questions.
Yeah, we're giving information before they can even think of questions to ask.
Chock full of information here. Mickey, on your legal pad?
I had something over here that I thought was pretty interesting. CeeDee Lamb has accumulated 137 yards of his 220 receiving yards as run after catch. That's pretty impressive.
But he was always
it kind of
known
shows
for that.
You knew he was going to be
he was always known for that.
But it kind of shows you what kind of passes they're throwing to him, right? Because they're hitting him on the run.
And then get him in space.
Right.
Giving him some room to move.
And that's why a lot of his snaps have been in the slot. And we talked about it. Did we talk about it Sunday? Sauce Gardner doesn't go with one receiver. So if he moves in the slot, Sauce is out there
and
covering
I don't understand why.
else.
Do they have that much confidence in the other cornerback? Because most cornerbacks.
He struggled, by the way.
You gotta play the slot. I mean, you can't be that what's the word I'm looking for when you just do one thing good. He's got to do more. He's got to be more well-rounded.
Or go to the other side.
You got to be able to go to the other side. You got to be able to cover the slot outside. It doesn't matter.
Did you?
You damn right I did. I had to, and I didn't like it either because it was kind of weird. I played the left side my whole time.
Right?
Yeah, but that wasn't even my strong side. But I didn't have a choice because Dennis was over here. So then I had to become a left corner because the right corner is my natural position. And when you go in that slot, you have to change what foot you put forward. You have to be like we talked about last year, where I thought it was weird that a left tackle can't play right tackle. As far as cornerbacks go, that should not even be an issue. You just play man to man, whatever side and whatever position you're in.
So when you're in the slot, your disadvantage is?
You got the entire field to cover. You can't read the split. You maybe could read the split from the slot to the tackle, but you can't have one receiver on one side and say, okay, this wide receiver's lining up on the sideline. He's going to be running an inside route or a deep route. He's lined up tight. He's going to be running an outside route or a deep route. You can't tell that in the slot.
Two-way goes.
He can go anywhere he wants to go, and most of the time he has time to do it. He's going to have options. Like if you're inside, then he's just going to break outside. You're outside, he's going to break inside.
And you can't get your hands on him.
You can. You better.
You better?
You better.
But you're not on the line of scrimmage.
You can be on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the best place for me to be. Because if I'm not going to beat them there, I'm not going to beat them down there because I didn't have the speed. So I would negate them at the line if I could.
And you didn't have the sideline to help you out?
No sideline. Mm-mm.
Can you double in the slot? Is it harder to?
No, it's easier to double in the slot.
It's easier?
But you'll have to show it sooner. Depending on where he lines up. The safety's going to show it.
Is that why a lot of times the slot receiver goes in motion to the other
because
side?
Because they want to see
if
it's man-to-man and who follows.
Right.
If no one follows, then most likely it's a zone. That's why I was so confused. You don't run with a receiver in man-to-man? If you got two receivers over there, you got two cornerbacks, and what does the other cornerback do? He stays over here on the tight end?
I've seen that.
I don't like that.
I always wondered why.
I don't like that. That is just easy pickings for the offense. Because now you have a strong safety, and that's where Butch Johnson used to make his living, in the slot. Because at the time, they wouldn't put three corners in. They would have a safety.
Was the nickel back?
The nickel back was not always the best cornerback.
Right.
Now you put your best cornerback most likely in the slot. You're going to have a good player in the slot like Bland. Mm-hmm. He's in the slot. He's not our best corner, but he's a damn good slot cover man.
See, and that's why Woody was such a hybrid player.
There you go.
Because you got a safety in the slot.
No one
cover.
knew Woody could do that when he first came into the league.
Right.
And probably Woody didn't like doing it. But he sacrificed himself and put himself down there because no one else could do it. I'm a safety. This is supposed to be a mismatch in the slot, a la Butch Johnson. And that just didn't happen when he came down because he's Darren Woodson.
So speaking of Woody, they released the 173 guys up for a Hall of Fame this year. Woody's one of them. But also from the Cowboys, Romo, Stepnoski, Leroy Glover, and Big Nate Newton.
Big Nate.
Love it.
Big Nate.
Yay.
Made the 173-player cut.
The most underrated offensive lineman we've had. I'm sorry. The most underrated. I think because his attitude is the way it is, they don't take him too seriously. Nate was a dog.
Now, these are the guys that are eligible.
6-time Pro Bowler.
Right
Thank
now.
You. Thank you.
It's not the seniors division yet.
We never talk about Nate as far as one of our best offensive
6 Pro
linemen,
time.
and we should.
Right, 6 Pro Bowls?
We should, yes.
If I remember correctly.
There's an echo in here. Cowboys left guard Tyler Smith with a hamstring, wide receiver Brandon Cooks a knee, safety Donovan Wilson a calf, all practicing today during the portion open
Cooks
to reporters.
when we did it. I knew I was forgetting something.
Zach Martin and J-Ron Kearse not in attendance.
What's wrong with J-Ron? He finished the game, didn't he?
Doesn't say.
Guess we'll have to wait for an injury report.
That's right.
Yeah, wait for your injury report.
My
You're supposed to be
injury
telling
report.
us all this stuff. You're asking Bill what's going on. You're supposed to be.
I'm in here with you. No one's watching practice right now.
I wonder if it's still raining.
No.
We'll find
It does
out.
not appear to
I don't
be.
think so.
It appears that.
Can you see through that wall?
I
It would
cannot.
be great if that wasn't there and we could just look right out.
I'm looking
to the
at
field, man.
damp concrete as I look through that wall, damp concrete on the side of the field. But other than that, everything is good to go. So they're going.
Well, they were outside when we walked in here.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's interesting
What?
that they're outside with the rain. I
Is
like
it?
that.
Is it raining? It's not raining.
It was when
Well,
they
it
were
was
wet
wet
out
field,
there.
though.
Yeah, it's
But wet
wet.
field.
Yeah.
So
Well, you never know. And the grass in Arizona might be soggy
that's right. You say
if they
roll
left it
in.
outside too long, right? Roll it
That
in
is the
day to
coolest
day.
thing. I'm sorry. That is the coolest thing ever. Might be the best turf to play on. If you can just roll it out and roll it in, that is just
That's
so
what they
cool.
want. They want every NFL team to do,
They
even in Dome
should.
Stadium.
They should. And that way we can get rid of AstroTurf.
All right, that does it.
So now you would have to raise the stadium to get the
That's right.
grass to roll in underneath. Yeah,
I don't care what you do.
that ain't happening. That stuff's thick too, by the way.
And that's what you want. It's
The
beautiful
amount
grass.
I mean, it's a foot or so deep.
Sod.
Yeah, the sod. Not the grass, but the dirt and everything.
Of course.
The
Yeah,
sod,
yeah,
yeah.
sod.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
He done never did a yard. He never mowed a yard in his life.
Never
I
listen. To,
mow my yard still.
never listen to Neil Sperry. Okay, that does
And
it
I have listened to Neil Sperry.
for this edition of
We're
Mixed
sorry,
Shots.
Savannah. We are so sorry.
It's okay.
And
We
by the way,
apologize. We apologize.
tomorrow we're going heavy on
The Cardinals.
because we
All right,
have
so
an
study up. Study up on the Cardinals.
All right.
We have an
That's your homework
insider.
assignment.
We have an insider to help
Oh
us out
yes, that's
tomorrow.
right.
Yes.
Somebody's calling in?
Danny Surek.
Nice.
Amazing.
Yes.
Great.
Right off the top. So be ready on
All
your
right.
Arizona
I
question.
thought it was
right.
going to be Danny White. Not
Danny
that I'm
White?
disappointed.
Hey,
You
I
said
got
Danny.
Whoa.
I got both
And it
names.
could have been. Does Danny
he's
still
in
live in
Phoenix.
Arizona?
I got both names right, okay? Let's mark that down.
All right, and we will chat at you again tomorrow here on Mix Shots.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?